Thursday means Broken Arrow football. An 8-2 regular season comes to an end as the Tigers beat up on Westmore 62-14. I'm Rick Corey, the Rick Corey Sports Special. That is Travis Hill, the head coach of the Tigers, and he is sponsored by Tulsa Accident Care Center. And that's no accident, 62-14. We talked about this last week. You know you're better on paper. I mean, that's what it says. We know Westmore had struggled. The key to me is a team needs to go out and win like they should win. And you didn't
Right.
mess around. You went and did that. How pleased are you?
Very pleased. You had forementioned that, and we had talked about that real briefly last week at the end of our podcast, is referring to the idea of what we need to do in order to continue to prepare. And I said, sounds really weird, but let's look ahead and look at not only what you're dealing with this week, but what we're going to be dealing with in the playoffs. So we had to go out and play well, take advantage of our opportunity, last game of the year for our seniors, senior night, as we go into the playoff scenario. And I think our kids did a great job, Rick, like you mentioned, of just going out, being focused in on what their job and what their expectations were, and did a great job of putting that thing away kind of early.
Well, yeah, 7 of 9 possessions for touchdowns early on. I think that sounds to me like you were rolling.
No, that there was, and obviously some special teams that took care of business. So kudos to kids. Adults have a hard time focusing in and looking at certain things whenever the expectations are to be successful without having to actually go do it. So again, just for young people to say, hey, we got to go out, we got to execute, we got to do these things in order not only to just beat Westmore, but to keep ourselves on path with what our ultimate goal is. It was fun to watch, and like I said, a good explosion from on behalf of our kids and taking advantage of an opportunity.
Well, we'll talk about Samaj in a minute because I know we had a couple of defensive touchdowns or special teams touchdowns, but I want to go back to that offense first. Certainly, when you score that many times in those possessions, everybody's a star. But who do you point out that played really well for last week?
The offense is really a funny thing. I sit there and say funny thing when you depend on your quarterback. Everybody does, okay, but on our offense, whenever this young man, Jeremiah Satimba, does it again and goes, I don't know the exact stats, but throwing that over that 70%, us throwing the football anywhere that 18 times a game is kind of what we shoot for, and him going 14 for 18, 15 for 18, whatever it was, being very productive in that arena. We're very, very explosive. Our offensive line continues to grow. Bunch of big kids up there. We mentioned them before. We really like that group. Levy Adcox did a great job of motivating them and directing them. And, our running backs have had a fantastic year. And we got 3 in the fold back there. They're all getting the football. We're still allowing Corey Sango to heal a little bit with a little ankle injury. He's been at practice all this week, really go. So really happy with the offense. They found their identity throughout the year. That's Coach Wilkinson's going to, he'll figure it out. Give the guru a little time and he'll figure it out. And, did a great job. So really productive, really happy with where they stand.
Now let's get over to Samaj. He had a punt return for a touchdown. He had an interception return for a touchdown. And we've talked about him before. He's just special. There's no doubt about it. But when you put that kind of thing on tape, you make other coaches and other teams so much more nervous. When he scores on a punt return, let's put you in that instance. So you're the head coach and the other kid scores punt returns the week before. You spend a little more time in practice on special teams?
You got to do that. You got to find other ways, maybe not to get the ball in that particular person's hands or keep the ball from that particular person's hands. So it is whenever you have and I want to, he's as much of a team kid as there is. I really enjoy that about him too. But whenever you have, I just know this, Rick, I'll make it as quick as I can. Last year, somebody called in on one of the talk shows and they said, Coach Hill is a good coach, but he wouldn't be as good without Bird. And I wish I could have been on. I wasn't on the show. And I said, I wish I could have been there. I just said, I'd probably said some explicits like, no doubt. Okay. We're the same with this. To be a great football coach, you have great players. And a dude on your team usually really helps. Well, we got a dude. Samaj Stanford's really, really good. And like I said, what makes him special is not only that physical presence he brings, but the mental presence that he understands. And I watch it every day in practice. He's you don't get to coach him very much, Rick. He's always where he's supposed to be. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So he's a difference maker.
He is. And anytime the other team has to take extra time out of practice to prepare for special teams, they're not preparing for offense and defense. It's just better for you, isn't it?
No doubt about it. And they like I said, they've got to make sure that they're secure in all their punt protections and everything else. Because like I said, this guy here, if you make a mistake, he's liable to sniff it out, and figure it out. He's liable to figure it out really quick. and can make you pay a price for it.
All right, we're going to talk more about what's going to be coming up and this bye week coming up as well. First, I want to tell you about Tulsa Accident Care Center. We've explained this to you before. Jared Gallagher and his folks have done something that should have been done a long time ago. After a car accident, if you're hurt, you have to go to a bunch of different places. You go to your doctor, you go to get blood work, you go to get your PT, you go over here to do something else, you get your imaging somewhere else, and they put it all in one building. And better than that, you don't have to pay anything out of pocket to walk in, and you don't even need an appointment. So we don't want you to have a wreck, but let's be honest. We're coming up to the holidays, cars, people everywhere. If that kind of thing does happen, you don't need to waste more time. You're already busy shopping. Well, imagine if you had to go to 15 different places to get your health taken care of. You don't. You can go to one place for all that, and it's Tulsa Accident Care Center. Again, no out of pocket, no appointment, just walk in. They're in Broken Arrow, they're in Tulsa, and they're in Owasso, and they're at 888-8080. And thanks once again to Jared for sponsoring Coach Hill and the folks over in Owasso as well. All right, so is a bye week in the playoffs, coming up to the playoffs, any different than a bye week in the regular season, Coach?
Not necessarily. They're very similar. I mean, it depends on when your bye week is in the regular season. In our case, we always want it before district play. And I think both of them are so important that if you can put both in place, the scheduling one is something you have to work through. The bye for the playoffs is earned. Okay. You get a chance to take a deep breath. You get a chance to make sure all your little boo-boos get healed up a little bit. It can be a positive. It's like everything else, though, man, Rick, that we talk about in life. It's how you choose to deal with it, though. Yeah. So we've challenged our kids all week long not to sit on their hands, to try to find some way in every practice to get better. Even if it's just a little bit. I mean, the bottom line is, because as we've told them, the two teams that we potentially can play the next round are both practicing this week, and it's do or die. So both of them are preparing at a very high level. So you can't take a break. You can't take a complete week off and say that you're keeping in touch or staying caught up with what you're getting ready to get into. So we pushed our kids. We've strived to do that. We're sitting on a Thursday now. No injuries throughout the week, and we have gone a little good on good to try to keep the speed of the game in touch. But it's tough, Rick, to have, I just mentioned adults, kids, anybody to take a week like this and be productive with it and make sure that it stays positive and that you keep your momentum going the right direction.
How do you balance letting guys heal, but making sure you get them the right amount of work?
Yeah, it's real simple. I think what we can do and what we do is our kids that are healing still go through the practice process. But they don't go into as I mentioned, the good on good. They're not involved in some of the, just for lack of easy way to put it for everybody to understand it, is the contact concepts of practice. So that allows them to still stay in tune, stay, like I said, keep moving, keep all the things that going in the educational, the mindset proper, and but yet not take that shoulder that's already hurting and let's just keep it hurting. We'll get it hurt. It'll be hurt. People don't say, golly, you guys at the violent game. It is. It'll get hurt again next Friday. And I didn't say injured. There's a difference in football terms, but it'll get hurt again. But between now and then, we can do a lot of healing and it'll make it feel good, and that's a big psychological advantage.
All right, so it's Mustang Norman North. You're going to play the winner of that football game. Certainly teams you know about. There's no doubt about that. Scouting is not going to be a whole lot different. But when you look at those two football teams, what is it that I don't want to say worry, but what do they do well?
Well, both of them have high octane offenses. I mean, that's where they both have hung their hat on this year. As far as their opportunity to be successful, and when they were and won big ball games, it was due to their offense. Typically, and not cutting down their defense, outscoring people. Boy, they got both productive people on offense. So they got a lot of common in there. So it'll be kind of an interesting game as we go watch it. It might be a track meet, so to speak, as we get the opportunity to go down and view that, because both of them are definitely explosive on that side of the football and cause a defensive-minded guy like me a lot of grief, because they do some really good things. And again, they have really good football players, as you well know. We can just mention a few real quick. I think it's any time we can mention kids. I wish I could do a better job with names. But the young man is probably, I think, the number 2 recruit. James is his last name, the receiver for Norman North, going to the University of Washington. And the quarterback, I believe, O'Neal, number 2 for the Mustang, is committed to Florida State. So I don't think I have to speak no more. You can see where their offenses are high octane with high octane type kids like that.
Yeah, and that Norman North tight end kid, his brother's in the NFL and he can play. There's no
Mm-hmm.
doubt about that. So,
Yep.
what time do you guys? I mean, do you shorten up some Friday practice? You let them off because you got to get down
Yep.
the turnpike.
Well, our typical week is Monday is a little easier day, and then we work hard through the week and we play on Friday. And this week, so we had our typical Monday. We're working our tails off, but like we said, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today and tomorrow will be a day we go out and just real briefly we call what we call a mobility session, and then we get the opportunity to go out on the field and have a real brief special teams practice. And a little quick sessions of team just to keep us sharp, and then we're going to run the heck out of them, Rick. That's for conditioning. Give them off Saturday. We come in on our typical Sunday film at 2:00 in the afternoon, have some fun with them, and start getting ready for a playoff game.
Outstanding. Before you go, take me inside the car. All the coaches are in on the way down. Are we talking coach speak? Are we talking about the game? Be honest now. What are you guys kicking
Rick,
around?
I'm going to be honest. I think that's you come up with some really unique things because you've been involved with this, and it's great. No, in the 35 plus years I've done this, these are always enjoyable trips, and always you find something out new, Rick.
Yes, you
Okay,
do.
so no, there's a variety of things that coaches get in together, and we're just like anybody else. When we want to have a good time, a lot of laughter. Their competition still stays high, so sometimes we got to pull over and make sure everybody's all right and not and behaving correctly. But no, man, we discuss everything realistic between classroom stuff and how all that's going to just general family. Much less, we know we're going to get on the conversation of football and the things we're looking at, and with our personnel and everything else. So, Rick, they're always fun. It's a good time to get together as the staff. It's just like clinics, and those aren't our. I want to make sure, and I might be saying this wrong, but it's not a big party. It's an opportunity, just like anything else. Professionalism put together in order to look at things in a different way. Okay, you can let your hair down a little bit, so to speak, and have some fun doing it. So, Rick, it's always enjoyable, and it'll be 2 hours there and 2 hours back. So that's 4 hours of a lot of conversation, sir.
Who's the first guy that needs a bathroom stop?
Um, well, I'm 63. I'll raise my hand. It's usually me. So either that or we always tell the kids to hydrate. Coach Hill, do not hydrate before you get in the Suburban. So
Well, be safe on one of the worst drives in America. In my point, I can't stand that drive.
yeah,
We have to make it, don't we? Be safe down there and back, and we'll visit next week. Thanks, Coach.
Rick, appreciate you, man. Go have a great one.